when I was thinking about what to talk about for this, it was pretty much like I want to figure out a way to put into one slide deck everything that can go wrong when running ads. So when I said this is going to be very tactical, this will be very tactical. So we're going to cover literally everything. So I have two goals for today. I want to show you how to diagnose and fix everything that can go wrong when running ads. All right? And I want this talk to basically be a reference for you guys that you can just go back, watch this, and basically use this to solve things when things aren't working. So it's basically a survival guide. And this works for any funnel, so DM funnel, webinar funnel, challenge funnel. A lot of you guys are running call funnels. And if you haven't ran ads before, text me after this so I can give you some basic videos on launching campaigns, like the buttons to press in the ads manager, because that's like 3%, if less than that, of actually how to make ads work. So first, we're gonna do some math. All right. So before you launch a new ad set or campaign, you gotta know your numbers. All right. What is the highest cost per call, show rate, qualified rate, and close rate that you can actually tolerate? And that's what we have to get really clear on. So scan this real quick. If that doesn't work, go to this as well. Everyone's going to get these decks afterwards too, so you'll be able to dive in. But some of you have seen it. Some of you haven't yet. Cool. We all good? Little thumbs up. Dope. Cool. So you're going to see something like this. All right. So we'll go over it in a sec, but you'll have your inputs, calculated values from those inputs, and then you'll have your max cost per call, your break-even front-end ROAS, cash collected, if you want to project that, revenue, and then your CAC. All right. So this sheet is going to give you your baseline metrics. So your highest cost per call, your highest show rate, your highest qualified rate, highest cash collected rate, and close rate that you can tolerate to just break even on ads. Okay. Now, once you know your baseline metrics, we can now dive into the hierarchy of ad metrics, which is this right here. So ROAS is king. You got level 1, Chad. Got the Chadvertiser from Jeremy Haynes. It's a good one. Chadvertiser. Brad right here. So you have your level 2 metrics, which is cost per call, show rate, qualified rate, close rate, and then you got all the nerd metrics, right? So all this shit down here. Okay, which some of you guys will like message me and you'll be like, oh, my fucking, I don't know, my freaking response rate is like 30%. Like, why the fuck are you looking at that? You're at like a 3x ROAS. So golden rule, if ROAS is positive, scale spend. You want to create scaling rules too for your level 1 ROAS metric. So whenever we do that break-even sheet, this is what we'll sit down and do. So we'll say, if my front-end ROAS is below minimum ROAS in that sheet, then I run a bottleneck analysis to find the bottleneck. So we dive into level 2 metrics, which the whole presentation is about that basically. And solve for that, and then keep spend where it is, And then you have, if it's between X number and X number, then I increase spend by 10% every 1 to 3 days. If it's between X and X, increase 20% every 1 to 3 days. So you can make these rules to make scaling easy. That's the whole thing. That's what we want to do. So if your current front-end ROAS is below your minimum in your model, and ad fatigue is not occurring, which ad fatigue is this. Cost per result is increasing, result volume is decreasing. After a campaign has already scaled, so not when you first launch it, right? If you first launch a campaign, shit doesn't work, the ads just sucked. Or there's some other bottleneck that we'll go over. If ad fatigue is not occurring, then it's time to drill into those level 2 metrics and level 3 metrics and initiate a bottleneck analysis, which is just this, right? It's an activity where you simply analyze all of the metrics across your entire funnel and determine what is blocking scale. So what's fucking you up? That's a bottleneck, right? So we want to find what is causing the choke point there. We want to find basically, what is choking the performance of our entire advertising system. So we start by looking into the metrics within level 2 of the hierarchy, which is here, right? If our cost per call is fucked, that can impact ROAS. If show rate's fucked, that can impact ROAS. Qualified rate, close rate, that can impact ROAS. All right, so it's a hierarchical structure. So level 2 metrics, cost per call, show rate, qualified rate, close rate, directly impact and make up level 1. That was supposed to say level 1 metrics, ROAS. And again, if ROAS is not good, then here's what you do to initiate a bottleneck analysis. You compare your current 7-day or 14-day stats with your original model to find what metric is easiest to 2x to 5x. So you have your model, right there. And then we have our current stats. I can give you guys this sheet too, but a lot of you guys already have that sheet. Anyone that doesn't, just let me know. But basically, you have your model inputs, your current stats. All right, once you identify the level 2 metric that is the bottleneck causing your ROAS to suck, that's when we start to dig deeper to see what is causing that level 2 metric to suck. And we do that by looking into the level 3 metrics, which again, directly impact the performance of level 2. So whenever cost per call, show rate, qualified rate, or close rate is our bottleneck, then we start fucking around with all this nerd shit down here, okay? That make sense so far? Dope. So the only time, again, you need to nerd out over level 3 metrics is when ROAS is not good, level 1, and you found the level 2 metric that is causing ROAS to suck. So quick example here, say show rate is your bottleneck. Which of these level 3 metrics make up show rate? Start looking and nerding out, right? What could affect it? Start calling some shit out. That would fuck up show rate.
Book rate.
So book rate is the amount of page views that actually booked a call. So that would not be.
Average touch points per lead.
There you go, average touch points per lead.
Email open rate.
Yeah, there you go, email open rate. What'd you have?
Response rate.
Response rate? Yeah.
Speed to lead.
Speed to lead, yeah, right. There's a couple examples. Try some more in there. So in that example, if our ROAS sucked and we determined show rate is the bottleneck, then again, we start to drill into those level 3 metrics to see which of those is causing show rate to suck. So it could be, any of these ones or some of the other ones that we mentioned, right? Could be your email open rate sucks, average touch points per lead, maybe people are just reaching out one time, if that. Sales scripts could suck, pre-call openers could suck, so nobody's actually replying to you before sales calls. And again, just driving this home, this point very, very clear. Unless your level 1 metrics and level 2 metrics are fucked, you don't need to analyze the level 3 metrics. Don't got to nerd out over CPMs or anything like that all day long. Once you find the clear bottleneck, that's when you start to drill down and hyper-analyze things. So once you find the bottleneck, that's when you want to think about all the things that could be affecting that bottleneck metric. Think to yourself, what are all the reasons why this metric, so cost per call, show rate, qualified rate, why could that look like this and be affected? So again, in that show rate example, think what are all the things, big or small things, that are causing my show rate to suffer? Now, I'm going to show you how to solve every single bottleneck that could occur when running ads. Basically how to fix any level 2 metric. So again, this is going to be very, very tactical here. So first, got cost per call. So this is defined as your cost to get a book call on your calendar from ads. Cost per call target, it's variable based upon your actual break-even model that you did. So things that could affect your cost per call. High CPMs, low click-through rate, low app rate, low book rate. Let's start with high CPMs, because all you guys love CPMs. You're like, oh, my CPMs are fucked. All right, so I'm going to give you a lot of stuff on how to fix your CPMs, which impacts everything else down the funnel. So what are CPMs? It's your cost to reach 1,000 people on the ad platform. It's how much Meta charges you to reach 1,000 people. CPMs will only go up over time. Keep that in mind. They will not go down. Advertising gets more and more expensive as days go on. Now, keep this in mind. CPMs are just our overall cost to get attention from the users on the platform. So how much Meta is going to charge us to get 1,000 eyeballs. So it's Meta's way of basically telling us if it wants to push our ad or not for cheap. So low CPMs, it likes our ad. CPM targets, $30 to 150 is usually what we see. Below this range, you could have some really just bad traffic and bot traffic. Some of you guys have experienced that. Above this range could be a bottleneck, right? But again, if ROAS is good, are we touching anything to do with CPMs?
No.
Thank you. There you go. So overall, high CPM basically means that your ads just typically suck. Literally 95% of times, it's just that. So make better ads. That solves a lot of problems. I forget who I was talking to. I think it was Rich. And I was like, yeah, it's literally, if you just make better ads, a lot of stuff just gets solved. So there's a bunch of other things that we will cover that you should consider. So what can cause high CPMs? All these things. First, let's talk about bidding strategy. So we had a call this week about it, but auto bidding. This is basically, when you're running ads on Meta, you're simply just competing against other advertisers for eyeballs. So auto bidding is where you just let Meta do your bidding for you. So it chooses what auctions to place you in. You put no cost caps or bid caps at all in anything, nothing. You just let Meta do its thing. That's it. So cost caps, not going to go crazy into this, but you're just telling Meta that you want to hit a certain cost per result goal. That's it. You're like, hey Meta, I'm optimizing around schedule. I want to book freaking calls. So I want $40 calls, right? You designate that. And it's going to try to serve your ads within auctions that can achieve that cost per result. So we have a range here, and then what's going to happen is it's going to spend above that some days. So it'll book you calls at $50 here, $30, $50, $30. It's going to try to average out at that right there. All right? That's cost caps. So you want to place your cost per result goal, or cost cap, at your target cost per call. So you can do that right there on the ad set level if you're an ABO. It's right there, cost per result goal. If your cost per call shoots up and CPMs shoot up, adding a cost per result goal, so again, cost cap, can really pull things back into range by telling Meta, I don't want to participate in these pricier auctions. So to determine if you can get into cheaper auctions, Meta will look at a few things. Your optimization event, your creative messaging, creative format, your visuals, count history, and page conversion. So sometimes with cost caps or big caps, which we'll go over, in place, your ads will not spend. Some of you guys have put like cost caps on. I wasn't gonna bring it up, but Michael, sorry dog. But Michael was like, dude, my ads aren't spending. I've been putting cost caps on. And I was like, well, what's going on? And he pulled it up. He had like his cost cap on at $5. So he was trying to get a book call for $5. I was like, shit, man. I wasn't gonna bring it up. Huh?
It was in the campaign and the ad.
Yeah, everything. Everything. Yeah, so it's all good. It happens. Forgot, a couple of zeros, but it's all good. So if it's not spending, that's Meta literally telling you that it cannot get that cost per result, given your set of creatives, optimization event, landing page, how it looks, how it responds, everything, the copy, messaging, creative format, and visuals. So it's basically like, Michael, dude, I can't get a $5 book call. I'm fucking sorry, man. I wish I could, can't do it. So you can change one of those elements or increase your cost cap by $5 to $10 every 3 to 4 hours until you hit a spend pocket. So no, you don't have to like stay up overnight, just wake up in the morning, just keep bumping it up until you get spend. Big caps are just basically a tighter cost cap. So this is where you give Meta a hard ceiling on how much you're willing to pay for a cost per result. You tell Meta basically, I do not want to compete in any auctions that specifically can't get this cost per result and below, right? So you're going to spend here, and you'll have, like I said, it's much more restrictive, so it's harder to get spend off with these. So cost caps and big caps are tactics we can use to technically influence CPMs because it will place us in different auctions, but it's more of a tool that we employ on campaigns to drop overall cost per call. It's more of a defensive mechanism against high CPMs. So if you have like crazy events like election year, Black Friday, stuff like that, we'll put those on. Next, optimization event. Meta gives you a ton of events that you can optimize around, right? You got lead, you got freaking donate, that's a funny one. Schedule, search, start trial, everything, right? Sometimes just changing that event can influence CPMs and also lead quality, but more on that later when we talk about qualified rate. So going from lead to schedule, for example, can influence CPMs. So rule of thumb, you should always optimize campaigns around the furthest bottom of funnel event that you have enough volume for. So for call funnels, we optimize around schedule, submit application, complete registration typically. We'll start with schedule, and then we'll split test, like submit application and complete registration. We can do other things too, like optimize around showing up call, that's like a custom conversion event, things like that, or like MQL. Placements is another thing. So certain placements can bring in good traffic, others completely terrible traffic. So who was I talking? Oh yeah, we were talking to you. Yeah, you two, you guys both had Audience Network on or getting fucked on for like a good week. It's just burn and spend on Audience Network. So yeah, we turn off that. I've been turning off these lately. This is something that's really stupid as well. You basically are telling Meta, dude, I don't want to spend on these freaking placements, and it'll just like spend on it. It'll just be like, oh well, no, you want to spend 5% of your overall budget on this shit. Turn that off. Okay. You could specifically see what placements are bringing in high and low CPMs and also attracting, also like seeing results, click-through rate, et cetera, just by going to breakdown up there and then choosing that. So sometimes if we're getting like bot traffic, we'll go into there and we'll see specifically what placements are getting like insanely high click-through rates, stupid low CPM, stuff like that. So keep this in mind too, whenever Meta is in like a test mode or trying to work around some update like iOS 26, for example, or Andromeda, a lot of wacky stuff can happen on certain placements. It's usually like the freaking Facebook feeds or Facebook Reels I've been noticing, but just keep that in mind. So that's where we'll look into things more. Next is time of year, so straightforward. The time of year can also influence CPMs above everything, keep in mind. So holidays, even like small ones like Valentine's Day and stuff, not that it's a small one. I love Valentine's Day. It's not a small holiday, but small holidays like that are not the big ones like Black Friday, Christmas and stuff, could have an effect on CPMs. Also, macro events where a lot of advertisers are entering the space, like elections, things like that, that could also impact CPMs. So during these times, we creative test more ahead of time, so we're not waiting until like the fucking week of Black Friday to start creative testing. We'll test new formats and messaging like weeks before in the account, and basically during again if needed. And then we'll also model things out. So we'll go through and be like, all right, if our CPMs are gonna be double, what does the rest of the funnel look like? And we'll project spend out based upon that. And also again, during that time, cost caps, big caps. So time of year in general is just something to, again, keep in mind as an advertiser because every metric could be impacted during that time of year, close rate, show rate, everything. Next, weak creative visuals. So again, Meta wants to push good freaking ads. And if you have a good ad that is engaging, so visually appealing, native to the platform, it will push it and reward you with lower CPMs. So if you make your visuals in the ad clean and attention grabbing, you'll get rewarded with better ad performance. And using visual hooks to get people to stop scrolling will improve ad results because more people will stop and watch your ad, click, interact, and convert overall. Cool and fun ads scale, so I love varying up the visual formats. So again, talking head, direct-to-camera ads, which a lot of you guys run, are great, but you can get pretty creative with stuff. If your visuals look like shit too, you're gonna get punished with some CPMs, which is why I had day 2 be let's film some stuff, because I want to make sure you guys walk away with some good ads. Sorry, dog. I kind of forgot about this one that I had you in here, but so you know, what? All right. Okay. So luckily half of it's like cut off over here, but okay. White background, right? I can't even read the captions. Like captions are the same color as the shirt. CPMs are pretty fucked, right? I mean, look at this shit up here, dog. Like, look at the. All right, if it's ROAS positive, again, if it's ROAS positive, we're good. But good lord, man, that was a $500 one. Crazy. Some other things too is make sure you look the part. So you have an environment that matches with and resonates with your target audience. So Jacob, right? If you're, oh my bad, dog. I just like blinded you. You know, if you're like filming some ads in a gym, right? This is a client that sells Google ads to local home service companies, and he's right outside of a Home Depot, and he gets comments all the time on sales calls that stopped the scroll for them. So he's, you know, it's legit in the background, selling to contractors. Another one here, she's on a fucking roof, and she's selling to roofers, so pretty cool. Another one here, this guy raises money, and he's at a yacht club selling, again, fixed income funds to rich people. And he looks the part, right? He's not there with like a gold chain. He's got a nice jacket on and everything. Looks pretty clean. Again, selling to roofers. She's in a house that's not fucking built. She's outside of a house as well, selling to roofers. Selling to business owners. Here's our boy Dylan from Stacks. So he looks clean cut, put together. Then Tony over here at Ops Kings looks like a guy. Does he look like a guy that helps with operations? Like. Looks like he'll dial your operations in fast as fuck. So, yeah, he's got the Patagonia, you know, jacket on and everything. Again, selling to businesses. I love that he's got in the background here, and it didn't cost him much. It was like $200 to basically have this sign there and all this like green stuff. Love how he had the logo there. So GoFunnels is their company. That's his logo. And then right here, it's cut off and stuff, but he sells trading education. So he literally has trading screens in the background. He's doing a selfie video. It's just like literally stuff in the background there. So another thing is just make sure your camera quality and audio is clean. Overall, in the deck as well, when I send it over, all these will play. So you guys can just like watch them if you need. And then add in some visual props. Just carrying a fucking ladder. That's on my film where I just flip the laptop around. Pretty easy. That one was filmed too with just an iPhone. Then we got one here, good old Christian Liskit. This flip chart is amazing. If you could add a flip chart into your ads, that shit cranks. So also another thing, be weird and creative with your ads. So this one here, it's still scaling, man. Like, still. It booked a ton of calls. It had $33 CPMs for 97 days and booked in 389 calls. That was killer. So it took a long time to do, but it worked really well. You can also try different organic style ad formats. So I've been talking to a lot of you guys about this. Rich, these are two of them that I think you're already mirroring. but this is Milad in the group, and you could just like scroll through social media and replicate trends. So this one here is literally just like a split screen. So he has direct to camera up here, and then he just screen shares something. And then over here too, this one, it started out with like a question up here, and he just answers the question. I think, yeah, Adam, you had one that cranked too for a while, just like showing a bunch of email flows in the background. So you can literally take the same direct to camera talking head scripts you do and add props, stand up during the ad, add in visual hooks, make them more visually creative, draw things on a whiteboard, etc. So yes, making better ads means you have to put in more work, but you gotta have to like storyboard some of these ads sometimes to be like, all right, I gotta buy this prop, I gotta do this thing, I gotta stand in this area. Just use your brain with stuff and have fun with it at the end of the day, because if you just make better ads, everything else becomes easier. Just for the love of fucking God, make better ads and test new formats. That's a big thing. Like if there's one thing to take away from everything, just test new stuff, test new formats, right? Push the boundaries. So one ad can literally change your life. That one for Mazen, I don't know if Cam's here, but that booked in. Yeah, how many did that book in? That was like
485.
Yeah, 485 calls from just one ad. We didn't have to touch the ad account for like fucking 6 months. It just like kept going. So next is weak messaging. So if your messaging is weak, your audience won't care about the ad, and Meta won't push it or reward you with low CPMs or ad results. So weak messaging basically is this, all right? It doesn't actually speak to your prospects, what they're experiencing right now. It's not attention grabbing. It doesn't resonate with them. So Cam talked a lot about copywriting and ads and stuff, so I'm not going to go too deep into that. But if your messaging is too narrow as well, which can be fine in some B2B settings, your CPMs are going to be higher. So just like model it out. And if your target market for your offer or ad, if it's too small, just know your CPMs will be higher. Which again, that can be okay, because if you're selling a more niche product, your close rate, your show rate, and your qualified rate, and your cash collected and ASP should be way higher to compensate as well. But just know the words you use in your ad and the overall angle can play a huge impact in your CPMs and who sees your ad. So messaging is targeting on the platform nowadays. So with your ads, just write them like you're talking to the prospect you want to attract. So if you go broader with your messaging, you can lower your CPM, but the trade-off is that you risk being too vague in general. You lose the benefit of, this one, I always fuck this word up. I'm just gonna say being too specific. So you wanna test out broad messaging that still hit real pain and hyper-specific messages as well. So also make sure your verbal hooks stand out, so be polarizing with these, and just make them pop, grab some attention with them. So spend more time writing the hook than anything else. We spend a lot of time on the hook. And now we're gonna dive into non-native ads. So something real quick. So we have one ad here from Harry, and then we have another ad here that I just took a screenshot of. Which one looks more native to the freaking platform? Like, there we go, right? So I like to replicate, again, organic short form content pieces that grab my attention. Just take those, formulate them in ads. This is Dennis in the group, so this is a great one he had. So even for images, you can make the ad look native and still attention grabbing. You just grab one where he's like on the freaking phone. I actually didn't know he has he has a pink phone case. I just saw that for the first time with that one. Right, so the strategy, another strategy too here, which Kate is testing out too. You can post trial reels with multiple different hooks, so verbal and visual adjustments, and see what works organically and push that into paid. Another one too, supposed to have something down there as a screenshot, but you could post organic stuff and then just slap a CTA onto it. So you post like YouTube videos, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram Reels, slap a CTA. Another thing too is just running your top performing YouTube videos. Right there, you can slap it on. Fazio was telling me about that too, for retargeting. Does really good. But just like literally, it's a 4x5. You got your YouTube there, and you got a banner at the top. So this would be a nice video, but not pulling up. You guys will get it in the deck. Then, real quick, an active Instagram and Facebook page. So Meta wants to push ads from trusted sources, so companies and advertisers. So therefore, by you having an inactive Facebook page or Instagram account, CPMs can be impacted. It's best practice to have some content on Instagram or Facebook, so it makes you look like a real human. How many of you guys are actually like posting Facebook and like Instagram Reels and stuff? Like organic, consistently. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of yours, Jacob. I've seen yours. Who else? We got like 3 people? I've seen yours, Brendan. Yeah. All right, we got to crank that up. So you've tried literally everything to drop CPMs, and that's like the clear bottleneck for you. What you can do is start a new ad account, page, and pixel to test. So everyone, again, should be posting content. Helps massively with paid. Next, not inactive creative format, creative format. So number one thing that can help your CPMs, again, is just changing up the format. That's really the main thing of the actual ad. So you can launch with talking head, but you want to split test other formats as well. So you might find way better results with an ad that's a static or a B-roll style versus talking head. Sometimes you can have weak ad performance, high CPMs with one creative, you totally switch the format, and it cooks on the other. So scan this real quick. This is our how to make scroll stopping ads SOP. Some of you guys in the group already have it. Cool, we good? Dope, dope. So take a picture of this too. Bunch of creative formats that are cooking. Doing very well. All good? Cool, cool. All right. This will be real quick, but creative diversification. So again, Andromeda, you want to make individualized ads. If you're not, it can impact performance and CPMs. Straight up, you should make individual ads. It's how the algorithm works nowadays. We run individual ads. The max we'll do is like 2 long hooks onto one body. So you can grab this real quick. A lot of you guys already have it. It's like our flagship SOP. All good? Thumbs up? Oh, got one more taken. I don't know why I'm leaning because I'm not even close to it. Cool, good? Nope. Page load speed. Real quick, we'll rip through this, but how many of you guys have checked page load speed? Yeah? Cool. So Meta also scans your lander. So if it's slow and responds like garbage, they're gonna punish you. They, again, only wanna push good ads, good advertisers, trustworthy advertisers. So if you're driving people to a fucked up page or a slow page, Meta will punish you. So again, high CPMs means Meta is saying, dude, I don't like what you're doing. Incongruent messaging could also cause high bounce rates. So for example, if you have show rates on your ads and you talk about close rates on the lander, that's a problem. Cool. Now, on to low click-through rate. Definition of click-through rate, right here. Very simple, it's the amount of people that click onto your landing page from your ad. So we look at unique outbound link click-through rate. 1.5% for a call funnel is what we like to do. 2% for like an LTO or a challenge is what we'll look at. And here's what affects click-through rate. Messaging quality, emotional urgency, offer, resonation, ad length. So basically, let's read that. Low click-through rate means your ad, offer, or messaging was not compelling enough to drive action. So start with number 1. Messaging quality is the measure of how well the messaging in your ad lands with your target audience. That's all it is. Is it speaking to the current pain, desires, situations, and circumstances and results your audience wants? Or is it just weak and broad? So here's a couple things that I look through if my click-through rate's low. All right, so I'll say, am I being direct enough in my call to action? Is it clear what my prospect needs to do next? Is the offer clearly articulated? Is the hook strong enough to get people to start watching in the freaking first place? Or did I lose people? A bunch of technical jargon. Is the ad too long? Too short? Did I show any proof? These are all questions I ask myself when I have a low click-through rate. And when I feel like my ads aren't pulling in the right people or landing, I'll dive into that, click-through rate. If your messaging feels too vague, broad, or flat, they're not gonna click. So if it's also an offer they don't freaking want, they're not gonna click. And right here, got a good old Fazio right here. So again, if it doesn't remove a lot of logistical intensity, your offer, they won't click. Next, emotional urgency. So some of the ads, even B2B, that rip for us are emotionally driven. So it pulls the prospect into a state of pain right here. So if you can create an emotional spike that breaks the prospects out of scroll mode, you have a good ad. And if you dig into that pain, think about what your ideal prospect is experiencing right now. So again, problems, pains, desires, situations, and just make an ad about that. That's it. So to start, you can make one ad for one pain point and just do that 30 times for an ad set. So which one of these will get more clicks? Just read through them for a sec. Ad number 1 at the top, 2 there. Give it a couple more seconds. Which one? Two? Or 3? Well, technically these are, that 2 is a longer one. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, same one. How come? Images, proof, visuals. Anything else?
Black spots are pretty common.
Yeah, black spots are pretty common.
I mean, it gives a fact, and then it gives you authority to the fact. It's all congruent all the way through.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. Exactly. So it just resonates with people in that exact situation. Creates a ton of emotion and curiosity, which drives a click. Has life to it, feels real, and it speaks directly to what a prospect is experiencing right now. So this is crazy as shit too. This was over, I don't know if I remember showing you this one. We were like laying down in Fort Myers, but this is an ad that I got on Instagram, okay, down in Fort Myers over the holidays. I was in that fucking circle at that time, okay? So cancer danger zone, 5-mile radius around a sterilization facility. That got me to click that fucking ad real fast because that was very contextual to me at the moment. I was like right like there overall. Isabella grew up kind of right around there too. So page sucked, but like, yeah, that drove the click. You know, think about the click-through rate on that ad. So pain, worry, and curiosity. Visuals sucked, but damn, did that have some really good, some good messaging on that one. So good visuals and messaging that hits the prospect in the chest equals a higher click-through rate. Now, real quick in the offer. Simple one, but if your offer isn't something that people want, they won't even click, even if your ad is great. That's why we like to test different positioning on our core offers, so the main thing that you sell. And why we like to test different front-end offers, like beat your best performing ad guaranteed. Your offer could also be something that people want, but you just articulated it in such a long and confusing way that people said, fuck this, and just swiped away. So note, adjusting your offer takes the most effort. So usually, when you decide to adjust your offer, click-through rate is not the only bottleneck. So don't just say, oh man, my click-through rate's fucked. I'm switching my entire offer. No, we don't want to do that, all right? So next is resonation. So this goes hand in hand with what we talked about with messaging quality and creative quality in CPMs. But your visuals, messaging, and the offer has to resonate with your target audience. So visuals, how you look, props you use, and the environment. So a good example too of this real quick. We had a day trading client. He was like, man, I can't figure out why I'm getting just like trash people through my funnel. Like, I don't know why. Not that one. different one. The other one's really schizo. This guy's kind of schizo too. But he's like, I don't know why I'm getting such trash people through my funnel. You know, that's actually a good example of that one too. But yeah, so he was in like trying to go up markets, like accredited investors, you guys are talking to. Accredited investors and everything. He's like, man, I want to pull in like rich people through my webinar funnel that want to get into crypto. So he decides to basically have like a gold chain on and film a selfie video in a fucking Lambo and said, I bought this Lambo all cash. Yeah, that's gonna get some really good people in, I'm sure. So that's a problem. So how you look, the props you use, and your environment can influence things. Like we wanted him to be in a nice office environment with like the charts in the background and looking like, you know, a trustworthy person that's not just slinging another course. So that was a problem. Messaging, what your ad actually says, how you grab attention with words, and how you articulate your offer, and how you articulate the prospect's current problems, pain points, and desires also influences that. And then the offer, again, what you're selling. So for example, like adding a guarantee onto your offer can bring in different people than not having one. So ad length, go into this real quick. But we've been testing this more, and the length of your ad can impact click-through rate more than usual as of late. Some accounts and ICPs resonate with short ads, some longer ads. It also depends on how good you are as a copywriter. If you can write longer ads that are like 90 seconds long and hold attention and they're engaging, then awesome. Test it out. You know, with a longer ad, you're just building up more trust with the prospect in that time span. But some people, they write long ads, it just goes in fucking circles. This is the same thing like 9 times in a row. So test both for yourself and see how they perform. So now, the other thing that can influence cost per call, application rate. So it's the amount of qualified MQLs, applications, that submit their actual application against your unique landing page views. So let's do some math. Who's gonna get this first? Who's gonna yell it out first? We got 900 unique landing page viewers, 41 qualified prospects. What's the application rate? I saw nobody whipping out the phone for the calculator. We're doing this manually. 4.55. There we go. Who had it? Adam? There we go. W. I got one more question coming later for that, for book rate, so be ready. Application rate targets, all right? 5% to 7% plus is good. Now, what can affect application rate? All these. All right, so we'll go over one by one. Again, page load speed, self-explanatory again. Slow, people are just gonna bounce. So use that, check your page speed. You could also use Microsoft Clarity, Hotjar, or any other heat map to see how people behave on your page. If it's slow, you can also host it on Cloudflare and turn on like all the speed optimizations there. And then if you got a bunch of images, like our lander is just a freaking endless scroll of proof. And we're trying to compress all the images on there to make it load faster. Next is branding and visual credibility. So again, what builds more credibility? These, take a good look at them real quick. Or these, right? Pay the extra few bucks to get an actual designer to design a clean page if you suck at design, or use our templates. So it took a second. I did pretty good with the Photoshop here. Huh? So again, we have templates if you guys need that, make them look nice and clean. But have some nice custom branded colors. Add your logo, clean fonts. Avoid using like jarring and clashing color palettes. A good design goes a long way. Also, make sure your page is mobile optimized, which a lot of people forget to actually check. You'd be surprised how many times we literally get a client in and we just like make mobile look better and make the app load better on mobile, and it just shoots up. So next is messaging congruency. Kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but your landing page messaging and offer should be congruent to what caused the click in the first place, so the ads. So if your ads say one thing and your landing page says another, people are gonna bounce. So for example, if your ads talk about fixing show rates and your landing page talks about optimizing sales process, that incongruency could cause issues. So I put this in the chat yesterday, but if we had a campaign that was basically like talking about fixing show rates, for example, then make the lander to that actual campaign congruent to that angle. We were talking about that with yours, Jeet, right? If it's talking about fixing close rates, then make a congruent funnel talking about fixing close rates. So you can have a general headline at first, of course, that's still congruent with all of your ad angles. So like this one here for stacks, like this literally would be congruent with any ad talking about their services, regardless of the pain point, and the desire, anything in the ad, because it just talks about their offer. But down the line, we can get more granular with stuff. So a great, again, scaling strategy is to see what ad brings in results. So it's getting spend and actually getting good leads and good results coming through, and change the headline on that active funnel that it's driving to match this specific messaging in that ad. So that can increase application rate because you're increasing congruency from where they came. This is a killer freaking strategy to do. Say again, Stacks is winning ads. They're an accounting firm, for those of you guys that don't know. Said, are you looking to exit your business in the next 3 to 5 years? If so, you need to clean up your books now so we can help you with that. This was an ad that ripped too, and it got some sick quality because it's talking about people who want to exit their business. So they already got an established business. Worked really good. Then, if that's getting all the spend, great results, love the lead quality, you can change the landing page copy to be congruent with that angle. So needing clean books so you can exit your business in 3 to 5 years. You could then change up a little bit of the VSL if you want, back-end email flows, sales process, everything there. It's a great horizontal funnel scaling strategy. You can then take that, again, that ad angle and funnel combo and just iterate on that freaking angle until it's like just stops working. Also, you can carry that winning messaging through the rest of the funnel. So pre-call email flows, confirmation page, everything. So their salespeople can reference the fact that, hey, you're looking to exit your business in 3 to 5 years, so you need your books clean. Everything's nice and congruent. So then page experience and info on the page. The content that is on your page and the actual experience the user has on your page can affect the application rate as well. So if your page is hard to use and the key information isn't above the fold, if it's unresponsive, or if again it just looks bad, performance will suck. When reviewing your page, think about what blockers there are that are preventing people from taking action on the page. So copy confusing, scroll for the main button in CTA. I've seen a couple of your guys' landers, and you have to like scroll all the way down to get to the freaking like application. Is the application rate hard to use? Does the page look jarring? So when looking at your page through that lens, like what would prevent people from taking action on this page in the first place, you'll find more things that you need to change up. The page must also answer these questions. What the hell is this thing? What results can I get? Can I trust these people? What do I have to do next? What problem does it solve? And what do I need to do on my end to make this work? So your content sections, by the way, too, should be short, scannable sections. So use like bullet points, case study breakdowns and screenshots, FAQs. Just have like minimal fluff. So a great thing that Cale Owen from Gym Launch told me, he was like, every word has to earn its place, which I really like that as a frame for writing copy. And again, our templates have everything laid out if you need them. You also need to think, does cold traffic have enough information about me on this page, minus the VSL, about myself and the offer to submit an application? So then real quick, get into application questions. So your app questions themselves, in terms of the quantity of them and what they actually are, can impact application rate. So you can add more questions or have harder questions to answer if you want to increase friction and slow down the volume or increase lead quality. So if some of you need to like, increase lead quality, that's a way you can look into doing it. But most people start way too restrictive when they first start running ads, test a new funnel or new offer. They'll have like 7 questions and they're all like hard to answer. Don't want that. So you can take a quick picture of that. This is how our application look like right now. Pretty straightforward. 2 to 5 questions max. First one's frictionless, and then we like to frame complex questions with context. So we ask like revenue, or like put in the description why we're asking revenue in the first place. Another one too, if you want to get people to tell you their actual revenue at higher rates, Clinton was telling me this one, we tested it out, it's freaking sick. Ask them first, what is your target monthly revenue in the next 6 months? So get them thinking about future state. They're like, wow, I want to be at 100K a month. Second, say, cool, you want to be here. Now what is your current monthly revenue? That works really good. And make sure you have partial submit on if you're using Typeform or like iClose, so you can dial the actual partial submits and set them. And here you go. That's our structure for applications. Take a quick picture if you need. Give it a sec. Cool. So you to hit the pixel that are qualified when you first launch ads, because basically the looser you are with your applications or qualifications in the application, the more flow you're going to get. So if I'm trying to find e-com brands, for example, above 100K a month in revenue, I would maybe initially loosen up the actual application to like 50K a month to feed the pixel more data and help it first find e-com brands. Then later I can get more restrictive, and it just trains up the pixel better at lower spends. So all applies to in-app lead forms as well. Make sure that you go into Typeform if you're using it, the insights, and you can see where the drop-off is as well. And there's usually like a question if your application rate, or your Typeform completion rate is below 45%, there's usually like 1 or 2 questions that are just fucking the whole thing up. So you can remove that or reword that whole question. Yeah, I think we had that on yours at one time. So then real quick, application user experience. So a lot of people spin up a funnel and don't actually test things first. On mobile phones especially, applications can be very annoying and brutal to go through if they don't pop up to full screen. So we toggle this on mobile, right there on Typeform. So it pops up the full screen on way better user experience. I also skip details on the Calendly step. The calendar looks way cleaner then. This is another thing too. If you're using like ClickFunnels for webinars and stuff, or just like any input form, make sure that the text field is 14 pixels or whatever to 16. Make sure the font size is that. Anything else will make like the phone zoom in when you're inputting information. So we had one that we were like, why is it zooming in? And it was on 12. So it kept zooming in on it. It's really annoying for the user. You can also split test application form programs. So just make sure there's a seamless application and calendar integration step. So people should not have to enter their information twice to book a call. So like on the application and the calendar step. Pass through the contact details from the application questions onto the booking form. And ideally, you don't want a severed application, again, a calendar page. You want a two-step funnel best you can. So we like to use these. Typeform Calendly, Typeform, and Chili Piper. You have to have another page for Chili Piper, but it passes through details really well. Then also iClosed. So diving into VSL play rate and engagement real quick. So your VSL is really just there to help prospects consume information about you and your offer. That's really it. The consumption of that information will help them book a call or not. It'll push them to do it or not. So if your VSL play rate is low, like sub 20%, you have a few ways you can try to increase that, or you can just give the prospects other ways of consuming the information that you want them to consume in the VSL on the page. So here's some ways to increase the VSL play rate. I won't go through each of them. If you want to take a quick photo of that, you can do so. Again, the deck will be sent over to y'all. But this one, which I'll go over in a sec, using an actual visual aid, love doing that one. That looks really good. Again, you can split test the actual format of the VSL. So split test like Gamma Doc or Google Doc, Miro board, those cook. Educational style, you can do a YouTube style, case study style, or this too, podcast styles. You do like a podcast as a VSL, rips. Another thing to consider is if you have an offer where you need people to consume more information before taking an action like booking in a call, then you need to break out the information onto the actual page in text format. So take the sections from your VSL, make text-based sections on that, just put them on the page. So it's a great split test. You can do a short page versus a long page on any funnel if your conversion rate's low. So just like switch it. The long page, make it shorter. Now, on to book rate. So another math question. Against your unique landing page viewers. So we got 12 book calls, 788 page views. What's the book rate? What we got? Damn. Who said, what did you say?
Oh, his is right.
Damn, but you almost like had that.
It's above 1.5.
Wow. Yeah, 1.52%. You almost had that. 1.48?
Yeah, that's wrong.
That is impressive. All right, so I can't do, like, I'm just still pretty close, dude. I'll give it to him. That was good. 4% to 6% is what we shoot for. Your book rate, also, by the way, should be close to your application rate if you have that connected funnel, so a two-step funnel. 90% of people who fill out an application should book in a call. So these two things could affect book rate. So call availability, we'll start with that. The less time slots you have open for someone to book in, the higher your cost per call will be. So show rates will also be impacted by having limited convenient spots for prospects to book in on. So the wider the availability on your calendar, the lower your cost per call will be. And another hack is to allow people to book in 15-minute increments so they can book in at like 1 o'clock, 1:15, 1:30, 1:45, et cetera. We just want to make it really convenient for the prospects. That's really all you're doing. Just make sure your calendar is freaking open and you have coverage. Also, again, you can hire sales reps in like other time zones to actually increase coverage. So yeah, we had a client that had like 2 days open. You're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like literally 2 days. It was like 4 hours each day. I was like, okay, so out of a 7-day period, they can only book in 8 hours. Like, great, yeah, this will be fun. So we got her to fix that. User experience on the booking flow is the other thing. So that can impact book rate as well. You just want to make sure that you pass through the details again from the application to the calendar step. People should not have to fill out the details on their application in the calendar step. Another factor is, again, not having basically a combined application and calendar page. So that's why we like the Typeform and Calendly combo. Offer, again, plays into account here too. If your offer is good, more people are going to book in. Now, we got show rate, qualified rate, close rate. We'll rip through these. But show rate is the amount of people who booked in a call and actually showed up in the first place. So we want to be 70% plus. These things here affect show rate. So sales team follow-up. If people have a lack of information and trust about you and your offer, they're simply not going to show up at the sales call. How many people have actually ghosted a sales call? Just like put your hand up. I've fucking done it. The rest of you all have shown up to sales calls your whole life. There you go. I was going to say, like, man, nobody else? These are great people, man. All right. Damn. Yeah, like, all right, fair enough. Because I've ghosted some before. But damn. I try to cancel. I try to be nice, but you know, people booking calls when they're in a peak emotional state. So you got to carry that emotional state and amplify it after they book in a call and before the sales call actually occurs. That's like a very good, it's a very important time frame when somebody books in to when the call actually occurs. So that's why we have custom tailored and personalized manual follow-up in the sales process. That's why it's so important. Automated reminders and email flows are definitely things you want to have, but they're not the things that are going to have the highest impact on show rate. So this is what we don't want. We don't want somebody to book in, right? And then maybe just like, basically this is like the interest and the intent to buy is over here, and then time is here. So they opt in over here. They have, you know, pretty high interest, and then we just fall off. Sure, maybe we send like a light automated email campaign, but doesn't really do much. SMS, right? High no-show probability over here as time goes on. This is what we do want. So we want them to book in and have manual personalized outreach. Then we got some email flow consumption, trust asset consumption, manual reminders. We're gonna keep following up with them. So you scan these real quick. These got a ton of information on pre-call sales. So we have our pre-call sales SOP and then the propaganda machine SOP. And again, these will be in there for you. And then anyone in the inner circle, you guys got access, obviously, and good job.
I had a question.
Yo.
For your clients who have like multi-person sales teams, do you tell them to tell their like SDRs to follow up with the prospects on their personal number, or like do you use a specific platform? Because you want to sound like
Yeah.
you don't want something like link, right, to send it.
Yeah, we'll usually hook in like Link or SendBlue into the CRM. That's like easier. But you can also just get them iPhones.
Their existing CRM. Okay.
Yeah. Link hooks into like GHL and HubSpot. If you use Close, SendBlue. Yep. But basically, you want to send personalized assets, resources, messages to prospects before the call, and just act like a freaking chill human. You could confirm calls way better, get people to show up if you were just chill, and then just confirm the call beforehand. These principles apply to any funnel, by the way. So we recently employed all of these pre-call tactics to a cold webinar funnel. We got a 33.33% show rate on cold traffic. Where's Cole? Cole is somewhere around here. But he was dialing like all of our freaking webinar opt-ins. Was cooking. So obviously as well, just make sure your freaking setters or salespeople sound like humans. They shouldn't be robotic. They legit should just be chill and have a conversation on the phone. All right? So familiarity is another one. So it's very simple. It's how familiar people are with you before they actually purchase. All right. So a lot of people here have watched some sort of content from me before joining our core offer programs or buying a ticket, and some level of content was consumed. Right. Might have even just been an email, but some trust was built up. People weren't totally cold when they purchased. So we need to get people familiar with us. So they have to know, like, and trust us before the sales call faster. And we do that through things like content remarketing, which is in the propaganda machine SOP, sales follow-up, and our back-end email flows. And also just by flooding the internet with content. So even if you're smaller, you should always be posting content. Simply makes cold work better. Next, email deliverability. Go through this real quick, but like I mentioned, having automated value-dense back-end email flows does drive up show rates and aids in content consumption. It also just reminds the prospect about the call that was booked. So if your emails are not getting opened or they're hitting spam, that could affect things. So response rate. This is the total number of new leads who engage with you before the call expressed as a percentage. Not a lot of people like track this. Our client Link did a study across 1 million text messages, and they found that by using blue text and engagement bait style messages as your opening text, they saw basically a 68% increase in response rate. So that means 68% of new leads that they got responded to a salesperson before the call, which allows them to handle objections ahead of time, answer questions ahead of time, build up a better relationship with the prospect, and even just cancel the freaking call if they're unqualified to free up space. So here's some engagement bait examples. So a couple, you have a this is name, I'll call you in 5 minutes trick, so you send them a text before you call them, saying that. Sending the contact card, this is something new with Link, they added that. You can send a contact card to the prospect before time, or before the actual call. That's freaking sick. So it like sends the sales reps thing. They got the photo and all that. It's really dope. You could ask them like what free assets they want. Check the pre-call sales SOP for that script. Selfie videos cook, voice notes, selfie pictures, those do really well. Again, you also want to send questions that basically elicit a longer response. So that covers everything in there. Just read through that. You'll be dialed in on that. All we're trying to do with our first text or call is to get a freaking response from the lead. That's it, before the call. Getting a higher response rate is huge. If you literally just implement this and also track it too, by the way, show rates can improve by 10 to 20% from what we've seen just by communicating with the prospect before the call. So opening up that line of communication and building that trust. Then diving into messaging congruency. So again, we talked about this before, but very simple. Someone comes in looking for help with their show rates again, and your salesperson starts talking about freaking close rates, they might ghost the call. So just keep a through line on everything. So we tag people in, basically we'll have like UTMs that pass through into the CRMs for our clients that say like, hey, they came from this ad, this angle. So the salesperson knows kind of like where they came from, what their problems are. Just make sure your front end messaging and back end messaging are congruent with each other. Next is negative reviews and PR. So negative articles, posts, or content can also impact your show rates. People will do research on you before the actual call. They're going to Google your name and your company. So if you have nothing at all, like no content, no PR, that is bad. And also, if you have negative or contradicting information about you, your offer, or your company, that can impact show rates as well. We've been using tools like CrowdApply to post a bunch of like positive Reddit content, just like propaganda about us, to manipulate LLMs, and also we're just making sure that we're posting content online, especially on YouTube, because it gets indexed. Blogs are another thing that we're leaning into, and also having some more like natural looking PR, not like the just the big blast of like NBC and all that stuff. Simply want to just look good and trustworthy to Google and the LLMs. So this is something you can do right now. It's kind of fun to do. I would pick Manus. You can do it on ChatGPT, but do Manus and just say, is your name credible? And it will put together this insanely long and comprehensive like executive summary. It's very eye-opening. So you should all do this later. It's pretty cool. But I would use Manus. You can use ChatGPT, but Manus will go pretty detailed. Here are a couple things to just look more credible online. So posting content, profile is actually built, have your site built and indexed, toss some blogs up, get natural looking PR, so like interview style PR works really well. Post propaganda on Reddit, and get client results onto like stuff like Clutch or Reddit. If you need PR, got our boy Carson over there. Hit him up. Yeah, hit him on up. Sometimes you'll also have contradictory information about your offer. So usually people post like inaccurate prices or features about your thing that could also create a disconnect with the prospect before prevent them from showing up in the first place. So that's why you want to get ahead of all that in the pre-call sales process. So this is a good example. This is one of our clients. They raised capital. There was one thread that was posted on Bigger Pockets about their group and everything, their fund. This thing cooked show rates for a couple of weeks, like freaking torched it. Then we just had them address the actual article and situation head on in a video that we put into the email flows and gave it to the sales team and also put it on the confirmation page, and that helped a lot. So didn't fully fix it, but it did get ahead of a lot of things. So we were like, hey, you're gonna do your research on us for sure. You're gonna see this. Let me just explain my side of the story. Like, hey, they're talking about you. Why not explain your side? So next, we're gonna dive into confirmation pages. So everyone who books a call sees your confirmation page. So we wanna load it up with easy to consume information about you and your offer. So if you do this, you're gonna get people that are basically ready to buy sometimes by the sales call. So this is Andrew, one of our cold email clients. And yeah, literally he was like, your follow-up's insane. I love the freaking confirmation page. It was dope. You wanna add 12 to 20, 30-second to 3-minute long videos that answer common questions prospects have in your sales process, handle objections, and set expectations of working with you. So you guys can check this out. I can also put it in the Kajabi. But basically, it's a very comprehensive, like long scripted out confirmation page breakdown that we had for a client. So keep it rolling. Plus, a section that just tells them to confirm the call and how to confirm the call you want to have. We also love adding a roadmap video where you explain what it's like to work with you and how your process looks on paper. This is great if you have like a sprint offer. This is gym launches, so you'll see. This one works really good. You can just copy that style of document. This worked really well. You can scan that real quick if you need. Cool, cool. Another hack is is adding an AI clone of yourself on the page or a chat bot, like a chat bubble, loading up with information about your offer and allowing people to message the page to get more information about you and your offer. Just makes it easy for them to actually prompt it. Also adding short form and long form content that's performed well for you, but also handles objections. So it's like strategically placed short form and long form content. You can put that on the confirmation page too. And also put text FAQs on the page, case study breakdowns. So videos breaking down how you actually got the result in the first place and showing the metrics, not just like, yo, we blew it up for this client. It's like, no, here's what we exactly did. Then some other videos that performed well is reading our client surveys, the good and bad. So this is on Stax's confirmation page, and they're just going through client surveys that talk about the good for their service and also the bad. That worked really well. Another one, Cam comes up with these, but it's addressing the skeletons in the closet. So just going through, searching yourself on Google and just like scrolling through things, being like, all right, yep, you're gonna see this thread here. Let me explain this. This guy was refunded, etc. Does really well. Also adding trust stats, like our proof center here or financial models go well. So for those of you guys that don't know, this is just like our past 1.8 million in ad spend and all the metrics that get all of our clients. So it just shows like, this is what we do. Here's what metrics we get. Add thumbnails here to your confirmation page videos, and then right here, the title on top. Some of you guys will like only have one or the other, just have both. And then also really just be thinking like, what else can I add to my confirmation page that will basically make prospects feel comfortable showing up the call we have. We love testing stuff on the confirmation pages. Next, we talked about this already a little bit, but calendar availability. If you have good availability, people are gonna basically be able to select times that are convenient for them. If you have low availability, they're gonna select times that are inconvenient for them, and you'll have a higher probability that they won't show up to the actual call. So wider availability and the more frequent availability you have open, the better. Allow people, again, book in 15-minute increments, and also allow people to like book in times that are sooner rather than later. So yeah, we restrict the ability for people to book in a call 4+ days out, but we also will like allow them to book in 90 minutes, like 2 hours later. Like fuck all the automated stuff. People are like, oh, I need to have them like read all my automated email flows. Like no, if someone wants to book in a call for 90 minutes from now and they have the urgent freaking need that our service solves, like I want to talk to them. Right? What do you guys have, 90 minutes on that one? Yeah. There you go. They collected 10K PIF in 90 minutes. Did you guys wait for them to read the email flows and all that?
We're actually eating together on the table when the lead came in. I'm like, yo, I'm searching up a laptop and he's texting him like, okay, I sent him back, I get on a call and boom.
Yeah, there you go. See, you could also just like, if you get a lead that comes in and books a call, just fucking call them and be like, yo, I got some time now. Do you want to do the call? Just get them on the phone. So next is confirmation process. So a lot of companies have like an actual confirmation process in place to confirm calls or webinar attendees, challenge attendees, etc. I'm sure Clinton's going to talk about this more, but you can install a confirmation specialist in your business whose whole job is to just confirm calls and warm them up after they confirm. So you can pay them a base and a kicker or like a little bonus per confirmed call, like 20, 30 bucks, and then a bonus upon overall show rate. This is a huge reason why we had a 33.33% show rate on that cold webinar. And Cole, our setter, literally just was dialing to confirm the opt-in. So this confirmation specialist just dials to actually confirm the call. You double dial multiple times a day, text them, hit them with email. Also, people aren't replying, just fucking DM them. Just hit them up on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Speed to lead's also huge. So if you can get a sub 10-minute speed to lead on average, in a good position. So that's show rates. Got 2 more quick sections. So qualified rate. This is the amount of people who show up to the sales call that are marked as qualified, so an SQL. Offer rate should basically be like very close to this, by the way, because if like your offer rate, which is the amount of people you actually make an offer to, is way different than SQLs, you just got to ask your sales team, like, okay, you're marking these guys as qualified, but you're not actually offering them anything. Like, what the fuck's going on? Qualified rate target, 70% plus. These affect qualified rate. So first is the ad messaging. So without, again, turning this into a copywriting class, we already did that earlier. You need to ensure that your ads speak directly to the person you want to attract. So if you're not speaking directly to the people you want to attract, so qualified people, then as a result, you will attract qualified people. Your ad should, again, look clean, and you should be in the proper environment that matches your character. High quality ads attract high quality prospects. You can use callouts if needed in your ads, but make them sound natural not like forced and lazy. So like for example, this is one that we have on our webinar, and it was pulling in some great people. It's if you're looking to spend $100, $300, $500 per day on ads, like that's calling out people that want to spend $100, $300, $500 a day on ads. Or right here, if your agency is sitting at that annoying 30K to 70K per month mark, like it's not saying agency owners at 30K to 70K per month, or people spending money on ads at $100, $300, like no, it's natural, right? So you can make these call outs as natural in your ads. Majority of the time, bad lead quality and a low qualified rate is a result of bad messaging on the front end, so having just weak ads. Your offer, again, self-explanatory, but your offer could attract poor people or rich people. If the offer you're advertising is literally all about how you're gonna get somebody 100 clients in 90 days or some bullshit like that, you will attract poor people that are looking for that. Even offers that seem more realistic, like we'll add 20K in MRR to your business in the next 90 days or you don't pay, that will attract people who are only happy with 20K in 90 days. If we only added 20K in MRR, I promise we would fucking legit cry. That's all we got in 90 days. So keep that in mind. You could also use attraction offers or again, pocket offers like we talked about earlier to get different pockets of people. So like we'll beat your best performing ad guaranteed. That offer will attract people running ads because we're saying your best performing ad. We'll launch your first winning ad campaign guaranteed. That attracts newbies who aren't running ads. Just make sure your offer is something a rich person wants, if that's who you're targeting, of course. Something that saves them time, makes them meaningful money, makes them healthier, or saves them from pain. Next, pixel conditioning. So you already know that we want to report good people back to the ad platform. We only want to report good prospects back. So if we get booked calls, we only want Meta to see the good people that booked in a call. And there's an SOP on this, I'll put it in there later, but just ensure that for every 10 prospects, on average, 7 of them that hit the pixel are qualified. So like you can reasonably make an offer to these people. Start seasoning custom events now, like shown qualified calls so you can optimize around them later to drive up quality. So use the conversion API for this. This is what the workflow looks like. So whatever CRM event that you have or tag as a trigger, so like qualified call offer made, you report that back to Meta through the conversion API for your event. So if your match rate, talked about this a little bit before, but if your match rate in your events manager is also below 7 for the event that you're optimizing around, that can technically impact quality because Meta's not matching up the qualified people properly with its users or with people that are converting through your funnel. So if that's happening and your match rate's low, just use the conversion API setup plus the pixel. Again, you can do this for any funnel. So webinar funnels, for example, you can start training custom events like shown to webinar, book call, retain 50% of the webinar, those print. That does really well. For webinar or lead magnet funnels, you could also just have a drop-down field whenever somebody actually registers. So whenever they're on the landing page, they put name, phone number, email. You can just have like a qualifying question and only report the good leads back to Meta that answer that properly. So you could scan this real quick for our lead quality blueprint. Talks about pixel conditioning, how to set it up, all that fun jazz. This is also in the Kajabi for y'all too, of course, but yeah. All this will be. Good? Got some there. All right, cool. Next is the ad platform. We'll go through this real quick, but just a quick note for those of you who are running ads on multiple platforms. We've seen that leads that come from different platforms have different show rates. So Google and YouTube can be different from Meta and TikTok, for example. Just make sure you're tracking metrics across the full funnel for each platform that you're advertising on and model things out from there. Next is the salesperson interpretation. So you have to get very clear with your freaking salespeople on what a qualified lead actually is. Because a lead who has low intent but has the money to pay you for your services and has a problem that your service solves is not an unqualified lead. So salespeople sometimes confuse low intent with low quality. Like we even had a client, just to break this down, that said a lead was not qualified because they were shopping around vendors. Like, they were fucking looking for the service. Like they're just shopping around to see if you're good, right? So that's qualified. So if you have a bunch of calls that are being marked as unqualified, just look into them. Run the transcripts through an LLM. Again, we like Manus because it actually does like good stuff. Watch the calls and ask your salespeople specifically why they were unqualified in the first place. And now, last section, we're going to dive into close rate. So it's the amount of deals you close on live sales calls. Target 30% of qualified calls at like the bare minimum. What can affect close rate? So sales scripts and processes, closer morale, selling more stuff, buyer frame, and then we'll talk about closer cleanup. So sales scripts and processes. Now, Clinton's going to be going over a lot on the closing side, but obviously, if you aren't getting closes, the first place to look is within your sales process. So first, see if your pre-call sales process is properly set. So you're doing like selfless follow-up, like we talked about earlier, giving value before the call, trying to connect with people, and not selfish. And then start reviewing the qualified calls that didn't close. So track the objections and reasons why people didn't actually close, and then role play handling those over and freaking over again until you're just like locked in for it. Also, review your discovery and pitch. So usually people don't go nearly deep enough in the discovery at all. They just jump right to the freaking pitch, like way too fast. So again, on sales calls, just be a freaking chill human. Ask questions in discovery until you understand literally everything about what they want and what their current pain and situation is. And that's literally all a sales call is. Ask questions, understand the prospect's problems and goals, pitch them what they need. That's it. Now, closer morale. So if you have a closer or you who feels like shit on the day, is having a bad day, isn't staying healthy, you got bad sleep, relationship issues, performance can dip. Like how many of you guys have had like a shit day and you're like, damn, I don't want to hop on this sales call at all. It's going to impact performance. Yeah, it sucks. You should be in a good mood, feeling good, and feeling ready to genuinely help the other person on the other side of the phone, make the right decision for them that'll help them massively. So it's kind of a woo-woo thing, but honestly, it's very true. Get your life in order and you're going to close better. So closer morale is something that's massively overlooked, and it's a reason why people have sales slumps. So next, we'll dive into selling more stuff real quick. So now, obviously, you don't want to sling deals all day long, and you should never discount your core offer, like ever. But you can create downsells and other offers to sell people into to increase close rate, cash collected, and overall ROAS. So you can make a done with you and DIY version of your done for you offer, or remove features or quantity of deliverables from your core offer as a downsell as well. So for you guys like less ad creators, for example, on something. Or you can even add features as a bonus at a time of sale to increase close rate. So these bonuses should handle objections that are preventing the prospect from closing. So for example, if a prospect doesn't know how to film ads at home, totally cool. Hey, extra $500, we'll rent a studio for you. Or extra $1,000, we'll rent one for you. We'll Uber you out, right? Very simple. Another hack here is no risk trials. So if someone has, if you have someone on the phone and you're just like, dude, I want to close this guy so bad, he's a great fit, but they're just kind of like off for some reason, you can offer them a no risk trial. So you could say something like this, where you're basically just being like, hey prospect, looks like you really want to do this, but I get it. You want to see if we are legit first and if we can actually deliver results, right? So here's what I'll do for you. We'll take a deposit now, but it's fully refundable for 7 days or whatever time frame you pick. No questions asked. We'll run you through our full onboarding process, show you the strategy we're going to run for your ads, write a few ads for you even initially, CRO your lander a bit, and just show you how we're going to get you more results from the inside, right? For fitness offer, over there, you say, hey, so do you really think that my program here is going to help you achieve goal, right? Awesome. There is a yes. Awesome. So here's what we'll do. Let's do a free workout. Leave your card at home. All right. I want you to try before you buy, essentially. So on top of that, I'm going to give you a custom meal plan in the first week as well, so you can clearly see how we're going to help you get to goal in time frame. Sound good? That can get more people across the line. Just make sure you wow them during that trial period to actually convert them. Now, don't default to this. So like every lead that comes through, don't just like sling this. Try to get the sale first. Try to get that PIF first. Try to do like payment plans after. Try to feature remove things. Try to add bonuses, and then you can do this as a last resort. Next is buyer frame. So this is simple, but in your pre-call email flows and manual communication, and on the confirmation page during the closing call as well, you can literally just frame the freaking prospect by giving them a clear time frame that you expect them to act within. So here's something you can literally say like, hey prospect, so obviously I'm here to only sell you on something I think can genuinely help you get to goal and help you solve a problem. I'm going to give you literally every bit of information that you need to make a decision that's great for you, whether it's moving forward or not. So to be clear, we don't chase people around over here. We're not desperate. We want people to move fast when they join our agency or program. So this is a great one from Jeremy Hames we sling in here. The easiest thing that I will ever tell you to do is buy. Everything else will require fast action. We only want people who can take rapid action, who move fast. So after you confirm that you have all of the information that you need to make a decision, basically you can pick a time frame there. As long as you have all that, we expect a decision in that time frame. And after that is up and you ghost us, we're simply going to block you and never let you in because you don't meet our criteria of who we want here. Sound good? You set that freaking frame, right? You don't have to get walked over by prospects. Like, hold your fucking ground. Stay firm. All right, you are there to help them get a result. Remove the fact that you are getting money from them like you are their savior, right? Because they have a freaking problem, okay? So fuck the fact that they're giving you money. You're helping them solve that problem, so hold that frame. All right, and then finally, we'll dive into closer cleanup. So usually there's a point that's like 7 to 10 days post a sales call that follow-up frequency can suffer when you have a lot of call volume coming in. So stuff gets overwhelming, a lot of calls getting booked in, and the prospects that you didn't follow up with are just deals that get lost because you didn't have time to actually follow up, right? So you can have a you can have a cleanup specialist whose whole job is to just reactivate qualified prospects that had a sales call but didn't close. They just dial those leads, DM them on socials. Again, that's a really good thing to do, is like DM people that are ghosting you on socials, text them, etc. Just try to reset them basically, bring them back into the vortex. You can put this hat on if you're doing founder-led sales, so you can act like this cleanup specialist once a week. Just make a list for yourself. You make like a smart list in Close or HubSpot, whatever it is, and just reactivate those leads with a fresh message or a fresh offer. So yeah, it's really everything that can go wrong when running ads and how to fix it all. First, you want to model out the actual system using the break-even cost per call calculator so you know what your numbers need to be to hit your goal. Then second, track your stats every week with our tracking template or your own. Again, if you need that, let me know. Third, have a meeting each week to identify the level 2 bottleneck that's basically preventing you from scaling. So this is like a meeting I do with Cam. He actually didn't confirm it there. Funny. Fourth, analyze the level 3 metrics that make up the level 2 metric. That is a bottleneck, right? So we figured out, all right, our show rate's a bottleneck. What do we got to dive into and nerd out on level 3? And then fifth, use this presentation to fix that bottleneck. Questions? Now, that was a long one. Yes, sir.
I had a question from like way back before, but it
Yeah.
was on the qualifying questions for the lead form.
Yeah.
I actually screenshotted it, so let me pull it up so I don't misread the question. But you said one of the questions was a revenue qualifier with a justification statement. So
Yep.
what is a justification statement?
Yeah, so justification statement is basically like, all right, if you're gonna ask for revenue, just have some sort of thing in the description. So on Typeform, you can have like a headline that's basically like, what's your monthly revenue, what's your MRR, right? You can put a description under there, like italics or something, that just like is a reason why you're asking that question. It doesn't even have to be a fucking good reason, to be honest. Just have something there. People wanna know why, and you'll get people that actually answer it properly. So like, ours is like, so we can figure out how to, I don't know, what creative strategy is best for you, or ad strategy is best for you, right? Stacks is, for example, it's like we want to know this so we can put you on with the right CFO on the sales call. That's really it.
Just to add to that, like a general rule of behavior is people only do things that are in their own best intentions, no matter what it is. So if they feel like if they don't know that answering that question is going to actually help them and get them to meeting, then they're less likely to do that action. So anytime you have something that you want somebody to take a certain action and it's not, if they know that this is going to benefit me anyway, then they're more likely to take that action. Same on sales calls. If you're asking questions where people fucking are just not answering, adding that little bit of a pre-qualifier, like here's why it's beneficial for you to answer this question honestly, accurately, you're more likely to do that. So, just persuasion.
Yep, just have something there. It helps. Yes, sir.
So for the Google page speed, I noticed if I put a video of ESL in there, then everything in Google page speed just goes to red. I don't know if you guys have noticed that or if you guys use it.
We've used like Handbrake is one. I think it's like one thing you can compress it. Also, Vitalytics has been better. You've used Vitalytics versus Wistia. So, should you use using GHL or what are you using?
For what?
To like actually host the VSL.
I am using Wistia.
Wistia, yeah, try Vitalytics. It's been better. Yep. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
So, when it comes to diagnosing show rates, at what point do you start looking at the offer and maybe even the front-end messaging when you pulled out all the tools, and how do you go about that conversation with clients?
Yeah. So usually it's like, so once we've already tried to implement a lot of those things and we're still like, if that's the clear bottleneck, the conversation isn't the best with clients. We'll try to like reposition it first. That's the main thing. So most of the time, low show rates that we've seen correlates with like just shit quality people that are coming through. So it's just attracting like terrible people that aren't going to show up in the first place. People with like fuck all for jobs, like that offer we're working on right now, right? Which for context, it's a multifamily investing offer. It's an info product coaching program. Basically teach people how to invest in multifamily. In that case, if like show rates just keep sucking, like on the marketing end, we're gonna like swallow our pride if we see like, hey, we're getting just terrible people that are like Uber drivers coming through, or like people with like fuck all money, like they're making like $3,000. Like they're not gonna show up to begin with. Or people with like 9 to 5s, for example, is another one. There was a offer we had where they were targeting 9 to 5ers, and like the call availability was like only from 9 to 5. And we're like, okay, that's a problem. So yeah, we'll try to like fix those things first, and then we'll do positioning. So like how we're on that offer attracting like accredited investors that have money and brains, we'll go do that, and then from there we'll like shift the whole offer if that doesn't work too.
Yeah, and then you have the conversation with the client eventually where it's like, this shit's cooked.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, which we haven't had to do that, which is good. Yeah, that'd be a rough conversation. The positioning even's a little bit rough sometimes too. So because like sometimes they won't, like we had to reposition like Gym Launch's offer on the front end a little bit, and like it was bad because the salespeople were still talking about the old positioning on the offer, and we had to like really just like fix that. So yeah, make sure the whole team knows. Anyone else? A couple more? We'll go back there, and then there. Yo.
It's more from like a pixel standpoint. 'Cause I mean, we're not spending a lot of money. It's $3 a day, and it's based on the messaging. I feel like we are getting like a 50, 60 customer book call. Most are, I think, because we're seeing this press basis, we are getting a lot more unqualified. But in terms of pixel positioning, I know you gave that e-com example. What's that fine line on still a low spend just be putting people through so it understands audience, but not getting brokies?
Yeah, I mean you're at a level $300 a day, and you're getting what, $50 cost per call?
50 to 60 bucks.
Yeah, so you're booking like 5, 6 calls a day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're at a position where you can get tighter, because like Meta will tell you they want 50 conversions a week. What we've seen is like 20 is a good shot. So if you're above that, you can start to pull down and get more restrictive. So yeah, you're in a position where you can do that. Yeah, cool. Yes, sir.
So you mentioned kind of angle positioning, kind of being creative.
Hmm.
So how do you kind of navigate when, let's say you're coming out with, let's say 20 or 30 different angles that kind of complement your offer that kind of work in the marketplace, but when you actually launch the creatives, they don't get spent?
Yeah, so if you have something you really do want to test, like if I want to test an angle for whatever reason or a creative format, then that's where you can do an ABO and like group them in. So I wouldn't really do like one ad set with one specific ad. I would try to make a couple different hook variations at the very least, or like basically new creative formats within that angle and just run spend onto that. So that's where like we like ABO, because you could just like force spend onto things. So if you do want to like test a different piece of positioning, you can do that. That make sense? Yeah, just like controlling where spend goes. And Adam had the other one. Yep.
So you had one of your points for ways to increase VSL. You had a split test for the VSL length. You said for B2B test a sub 7-minute VSL. What have you
Yep.
seen as far as optimal length? Is it totally offer dependent, or are you saying that B2B gets
Yeah.
have a shorter one?
It's pretty offer dependent, but honestly, like B2B, I mean, fuck, dude. It's like YouTube content. Like we can trim that down. Or like we had some guy that did like a 30-minute cold email one. It's like, dog, it's cold email. Like, come on, just tell people what the fuck you're gonna do. Like, come on, and just like show proof. So B2B, you can usually like trim it down a good bit. Yeah, you can go short and snappy. I'll take like one more if anyone's got one. Once, twice. Dope. I appreciate it. Now that was a long one, so we'll take a good like 10-ish minutes here. We got the place till 5. Clinton's got his, and then we are good to roll. We'll have a 2.5 hour break in between when this ends and Topgolf. So yeah, appreciate y'all. Let's go.